Hello my friends, today we will take a look at anamorphic lens by Sandmarc mounted on iPhone 11 Pro. As you may already know, iPhone 11 Pro shoots very nice stills and even better video, possibly the best of all smartphones on the market. Despite that, it still has that smartphone look associated with small sensors that it uses. Using an anamorphic lens is one of the ways to fix that and get more classy, or if you want, cinematic look. So this is Sandmarc Anamorphic Lens edition for iPhone 11 Pro. In the package you will get the lens itself, front and rear lens caps, case for iPhone 11 Pro, clip for mounting the lens to other smartphones, a pouch and a cleaning cloth. The lens is very well made, the construction is completely metal, and of course it has that super cool looking square front element. It weighs 46 grams, so it is not too heavy. It has a filter thread, so you can use it together with Sandmarc filter. The installation is very easy, you just need to screw the lens onto the case. It probably works only with the wide lens, but we will get to that later. One more thing that you need to do before you can start shooting is to align the marker on the lens with the marker on the case. That is very important because you would get skewed lines otherwise, so you need to pay attention to that. And that is in my opinion the only inconvenience with this system. The case itself is quite nice, very minimalistic, and it reminds me a bit of Spigen ultra-wide cases, which is a good thing in this case because it makes it very suitable for mounting the iPhone on a gimbal or a tripod. It has nice rubberized surface and it provides good grip. It is raised just a little bit on the front side, so the screen won't be touching the surface. I am generally okay with using this case even without the lens, although there are certainly some nicer cases out there. So what about the look and the image quality that you can get with this lens? Anamorphic lenses have a couple of characteristic and appealing properties. First of all, this is 1.33 times squeeze lens, which means that it makes the footage 1.33 times wider, but only in horizontal axis. That means that you will have to de-squeeze the footage, which changes the aspect ratio, but we will get to that later. The second characteristic of anamorphic lenses is the horizontal lens flare. You may have noticed that in very high budget movies or TV shows such as Mindhunter or The Witcher for example. I personally really like that, it gives the footage more classy and more interesting look. The third characteristic of anamorphic lens is oval shape of bokeh, but you're not gonna get much of that on a smartphone. The sharpness is generally very good. It is an extra piece of glass and it stretches the image, so naturally there is some loss of image quality. There is still a lot of detail in the footage. I would say that the video quality is very good in combination with iPhone 11 Pro. More importantly, I think that it can do what I wanted it to do, and that is to make the smartphone footage look a bit less like smartphone footage. I think that it makes iPhone video more interesting and less generic looking. It gives you wider field of view, interesting lens flare and cinematic aspect ratio, so I'm happy in this regard. To be honest, I'm not sure whether this lens is supposed to work with the telephoto lens. I have had some issues with the infinity focus on the telephoto lens, so I guess that it only works with the main wide lens. It is definitely not possible to use it with ultra wide lens. As I have mentioned, it captures wider field of view but only in horizontal dimension. That is something that you should also keep in mind. It is not an advantage or disadvantage, it is just a different look that I tend to like. This field of view is a bit more dramatic, so I think that it quite matches the anamorphic look. Regarding the de-squeezing, there are two main ways to do that. The first one is to use third-party camera app in your iPhone. I only use Filmic Pro for the iPhone video anyways, and that allows me to de-squeeze the footage by selecting the Moondog lens in hardware settings. Then you can save the video to your camera roll and you will get the de-squeezed footage. The second option is to de-squeeze the footage in editing software. This is also very easy. In Premiere Pro, you just need to find the clip in your project, click on Modify, Interpret Footage, and set the pixel aspect ratio to HD Anamorphic 1080, which will also work for 4K. Then you also need to set the scaling to 75%. If you use Filmic Pro and you import the footage to your computer using file sharing, which is what I recommend, You will also get squeezed footage and you will have to do the de-squeezing in editing. I've used this combination on a gimbal, which makes a lot of sense in my opinion. I've tried it with Hohem iSteady Multi, which worked very well. That one has higher payload than smartphone gimbals, so stabilizing this combination was an easy task for that one. I have also tried it with Zhiyun Smooth Q2 and that also worked well. iPhone 11 Pro has an excellent image stabilization, which also contributes to the results that you can get with this combination. The autofocus is also not affected by the anamorphic lens, so that still works great. The original cases are only available for iPhones, which is a bit unfortunate, but you can still use this lens with a clip on Android phones. To sum up, the main reason why I was interested in this anamorphic lens is that I wanted to get different and more interesting look out of iPhone 11 Pro. I think that it makes the footage much more interesting, classy, and indeed cinematic, although I am not a big fan of that term. I won't be using it all of the time of course, but if I wanted to shoot the best possible looking travel video on iPhone for example, I would probably use this lens to do so. It provides very good image quality and the handling is quite easy. Basically the only downside that I found is that you need to make sure that the lens is correctly aligned, which is a bit inconvenient. Other than that, it is a very good product in my opinion, so I can recommend it. So that's it for this video, thank you for watching, I hope that you liked this video and that you found it to be useful. Stay tuned for more videos and maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you would like to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section and see you next time.